Okay, there we go. You rock. You rock. Everybody in here rocks. Everybody that put this incredible conference together, they all came over here to congratulate you and tell you that they're proud that you're here and you have power. We're talking women leadership power. So give yourselves all a hand. Woohoo! Excellent, excellent, excellent. So we're going to be talking about emotional intelligence. Is anybody familiar with that word emotions? Anybody ever had an emotion? I had an emotion once. And what I want y'all to walk away with, the one thing I really want you to walk away with is one thing that you can do that will increase your emotional intelligence this week. And at the conference today, you're going to be meeting all kinds of people, and you are going to have the opportunity to be emotionally intelligent. You are going to have the opportunity to use some of the things we're going to be talking about today. So EQ, what is that? One of the things that we know with all the research, in fact, let's go back to 1952. Anybody born during that time? Okay, good. You just got 50,000 points. Excellent. So in 1952, there was a gentleman named Daniel Goleman. And Daniel Goleman, he was not really the one that discovered emotional intelligence. We've always actually had it. Did you know it? It's kind of woven in us. Emotions, we can't separate them out from who we are. We can't do it, right? But what he did is he gave it a name. Emotional intelligence. And back then, and even today, when you say emotions, people kind of like, she's having an emotion. We don't know what to do. And I know when I first started speaking on emotional intelligence, which was about 8 years ago, I had people say things like, but emotions, they're messy. They're so messy. Anybody ever had that experience? I'm the only one that's had a messy emotion. Anybody seen Oprah say, oh, that's my ugly cry? So we can't get around it. But the thing is it's taken a long time for organizations to realize how important emotions are, but they didn't know what to do with them. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So EQ, what we know, is the best predictor of success. We know that for a fact. And we also know that it is directly related to your work performance. And the other thing that we know is it is required. It is required to be a good leader, a great leader. You want to develop your emotional intelligence. Now, let me tell you the good news about emotional intelligence. It's not like IQ. You know, you got it when you were born. Here's your IQ. You know what I mean? You got your IQ. Write it down. You got your IQ. But what EQ, it can be learned. Anybody learn their EQ? Anybody practice their EQ? Excellent, excellent. All of y'all get 50,000 points. I want y'all to take a second and I want you to pull up in your mind's eye. I want you to pull up someone whom you admire. Anybody admire anybody? Anybody getting a picture in their mind's eye? Anybody have a mind's eye? Is anybody willing to share the first thing that came to their mind when they thought of this person? That would be a no. Oh, thank goodness you came. Could you stand up and please share? Oh, great. Yay. And what, is there something particular that you would share?
She worked really hard to get where she's at and was able to balance her life, her personal life, as well as her professional life, and she just rocks.
Excellent. So Ruth Ginsburg rocks. Okay? We're going to talk about what makes her rock and a lot of other people. Because you see, the leader, how they handle their emotion is going to impact the overall performance of their team. And so it's really important that we understand that. But I want to give you a little bit more on the statistics before we delve down deeper. 90% of top performers have high EQ. That just left y'all stunned. And EQ is responsible for 58% of job performance. Wow, that's huge, isn't it? And could anybody here use another 30,000? Anybody? Another 30,000? High EQ, we found people, they make 29,000. I rounded it off to 30. I'm going to throw in the extra 1,000 for people with a high EQ. So the bottom line is IQ gets you hired, EQ gets you promoted. But also, EQ, if we look at this, IQ gets you hired, we could also say EQ gets you fired. Has anybody ever known a boss or somebody they worked with and they said, why are they still there? How is this happening? And then one day they're gone. Or even better, they get a coach. The company says, you got two choices. We're going to work with you. We're going to get you a coach. And we're going to help you with your EQ. Or there's like this really big door at the front of the building. And we're going to help you. So we know how important it is. And we know that this is something that we want to develop. And especially with being women, let me not to take away from the men, because we are so happy you are here. However, women seem to have an edge on men as far as emotional intelligence is concerned. And here, let's look at this. Managers high in EQ outperformed terms of increased client satisfaction and turnover, 34% greater profit. So we know, and you know in business, we have to have statistics. We can't just know something, because women are known for knowing, aren't we? We are known for intuition, right? We just know. But they get really excited when we can back it up with statistics. Do we have any statistical people in here? No? Certainly we got somebody in here that read a statistic once. And also, it provides a more positive climate when we have people that are emotionally intelligent working with each other. So what makes a great leader? It's their ability to empower. So what's the name of our conference? Thank you! Empowering Women. And I will tell you this. In this room, the power is palpable. Can you all feel the power? Thank goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is palpable. And what we want to do is we want to think about, what is it that people want from their leaders? What do people want from their leaders? This is what they want. And this all comes under your EQ. This all comes under emotional intelligence. I want you to value me. I want you to acknowledge me. I want you to know me. I want you to care about me. I want you to hear me. I want you to see me. I want you to help me find my value. I want you to help me grow. I want you to see and get that I matter. I want you to help me feel proud. I want you to help me focus, and I want you to help me be my best. Well, let me tell you this. I, as a leader, cannot do those things for you unless I do them for myself. I have to see myself. I have to acknowledge myself. I have to know me. I have to know who I am. I have to listen to myself. We are all mirrors of each other. And when I see somebody and they give me a compliment, I say, mirror, mirror. Because you cannot say something about another person that is not about you. So when we push things away, we're actually pushing that away from ourselves too. And then we lament and we hurl ourselves onto walls. Nobody sees me. Nobody hears me. Nobody acknowledges me. It's got to start here. It's got to start within. And of it all, the most important thing is see me. See me. Every person wants to be seen. And in order to really develop this and cultivate this, we have to go within. That's where the gold is. The gold is within. And so we have to do some really hard work. We have to go inside of ourselves and we have to ask ourselves some really hard questions. Because you see, our entire lives, did you get that? Our entire lives are built on stories that we tell ourselves. And we are constantly telling ourselves stories. And I want you to think about some of the stories that we tell ourselves. I'm never going to get promoted. Nobody ever acknowledges me. And I cannot tell you how many times I've had a client say, I'm in a meeting and I give an idea, I say an idea, and they don't hear me. And somebody else says the same freaking thing. And all of a sudden, oh, you're just so smart. But they didn't hear me. Well, what we have to do is we have to get our weight. We have to get grounded in who we are. We have to look at what are the stories that I am telling myself. And we want to begin to change those stories that we're telling ourselves. Those stories are going to run everything we do because what we focus on expands. What we focus on expands. It expands. So if I say, I am never going to get that, nobody is ever going to see me, then that's what's going to happen. Let me tell you what. I was in a workshop a few years ago, and there was a woman who was talking about how nobody heard her. And it was just the most organic, wild thing you've ever seen. People unconsciously all got up. They either went to get something to eat, they went to the restroom, they went there, they went here, and she said, see what I mean? Nobody sees me, they don't hear me. We become self-fulfilling prophecies, right? So we've got to really begin to think, what are the stories? And one thing that you may want to consider doing is sitting down and just think about what are all the stories I tell myself about myself? That is a great place to begin, because this is what leads us into self-awareness. This is what leads us into the inner sanctum of who we are, and finding out what speaks to us. If somebody in here earlier that I was chatting with, I got to chat with quite a few of you. Some of you, you're here for the first time. Some of you been here 4 or 5. And also, like our new director, has been here since time immemorial. So how amazing is that? But I want you to just sit there and just think about, now you don't have to do it right now, but I want you to put on your calendar, maybe this weekend, because it's going to be cold. It's going to be really cold. God help you if you're like Penny and you live in New Hampshire. It's going to be really cold. But it's a great time to get your favorite chair and your favorite writing instrument and to curl up with one of those big blankets and start writing. What are the stories I tell myself? The second thing you're going to do is you're going to say, what are the stories that I am telling myself, and are they true? Because we usually don't even ask if they're true or not. And we don't even ask whether or not we have any evidence as to whether or not they're true. So consequently, we've got to stop if we want to grow in our emotional intelligence, and that is stop. Is it true? And is there evidence that it is true? If there is no evidence, then are you making it up? Because I don't know about y'all, but I have my MSU. And what that means is I make stuff up. Always have. Always have. I've made up stuff about myself, but I also made stuff up about, and let me explain this. One of the things I like about myself, isn't that shocking? And one of the things I am really, really good at is I am able to see patterns. You know those people with finances that they can look at a financial sheet and all of a sudden they go, there's a problem there. And you go, who knew? There's just a bunch of numbers on that thing. Who knew? But no, they are able to zip in there. Well, one of the things that I see are patterns. I want you to learn to read patterns, not just for yourself, but for other people, so that you can begin to see what it is that you are doing over and over and over again. Anybody ever heard of Einstein? I dated him. Real cute guy. And you know what he said? He told me this. He said, Cecilia, you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. So what are the stories that you keep telling yourself over and over and over again and are surprised when you get more of it? So the bottom line is you cannot go beyond what you do not know. You cannot change what you do not know. You've got to know in order to make decisions. You've got to know yourself in order to make new choices and to do things differently. So if we were to look at the human, there are behaviors. We have behaviors. And those behaviors are a result of feelings and thoughts, the things that we believe, the history that we came from, and also what we need and what we fear. One of the best things that you can ever do for yourself to develop your emotional intelligence is while you're writing, and I suggest you go to Walgreens, okay? Go to Walgreens and get yourself one of those black and white composition books that we had in high school. Anybody remember those? Get you one of those. Because you got a lot of work to do to begin to develop this emotional intelligence. And one of the things that you're going to do is you're going to say, what are my needs? What do I need? Do I need recognition? Do I need to be heard? What is it? Because if you do not know your needs, two things. Number one, if I do not know my needs, then I am not going to be present for you, because I am going to be concerned about how do I get my needs met, right? So you're telling me about how things are bad for you, and all I'm thinking, I need. And I am focused on my needs, and I cannot hear you. Without self-awareness, there is no other awareness. Because this is how we learn. We learn from each other. And then look at my history. From whence, okay, I learned something new recently, so I want to do another reframe. Reframing is really good. Learn to reframe. So what I learned is whence and from are the same word. Who knew? So it's not from whence, it's whence. Whence I came. So this is news you can use. So whence I came is, what was it like? What needs did not get met when I was up and coming? Because what did not get met in early childhood, we get an opportunity to work it out in the workplace. Yeah. You got a bully boss? What's that telling you? They had a bully parent, right? I mean, when you can start connecting these dots, you're going to go, oh my God, I could have had a V8. This makes sense. This possibly could even lead you to feeling compassion for somebody. Who knew? But it's a process, and it doesn't happen overnight, and it's not an event. So you want to begin to look at these things, and what are your values and your beliefs, and are they really yours? A lot of us have values and beliefs that we found out were not even ours. So these are the questions that we ask ourselves as we begin to develop our inner self-awareness. Well, that was a little redundant, but go with me. As we develop our self-awareness, these are the things that we can begin to answer. And then when we have the answer, then we can begin to do the things that are going to help us develop and grow. So, William David Thoreau. I've dated some of the most fascinating men. I got to tell you, he was a cutie. He hung out on that pond, that Walden Pond, though, a lot. But one of the things that he said is a life unexamined is not worth living. So this is what it is about. Self-awareness is about, emotional intelligence is about self-awareness. It's about going inside. It's about examining. And then test yourself. Test yourself again. Anybody ever taken any of those instruments like the Berkman, the Myers-Briggs, DISC, all of those? Well, let me tell you what. Have you noticed that we take it and we go, oh, this is me, and then you don't practice the ones that you need to work on? What's that about? Or you're talking to somebody and you say, it's just me. I'm just like this all the time. Don't know why you don't want to be around me, but it's just me. That's me. It's just me. This is not going to develop your emotional intelligence. We got to get with the program. You got to know your weaknesses. And you got to know. Now I'm going to be a little bit careful with this. I was going to say you got to know what you want. But the truth is, what we want is actually a process. So we want different things at different times in our lives. And then as we become more and more of who we are, guess what? We learn more about ourselves. And as we take care of those needs, now they can become wants, and we're not being, has anybody ever met anybody that's needy? They just have a lot of needs. And they come to you. And they like grab onto your ankle. And everywhere you're going, they're saying, I need you. I need you. Is that fun? No, she's adamant over here. Not no, but no, that is not fun. Well, guess what? We've got to take care of our needs so that we have the fortitude and the ability to tastefully talk to these people on our ankle and let them go. But if you are not grounded in who you are, 20 years later, I still got this needy person on my ankle. And you're dragging them. You know, I've had clients and they'll tell me the same story over and over and over again. And I go, wow, how long are you going to drag that donkey? Anybody ever dragged a donkey? Thank you. I did too. So glad did you bring it with you? No, the donkey's not here. But these are the things that we do. Becoming emotional intelligence isn't something, just the name of it seems like it's, how do you get it? But these are the things that are the things that matter, that are going to help you get there. But they're hard. They're small, but they're hard. Because if they were easy, we would have already done it, right? Anybody, their mama told them that? My mama told me that. This is David. Anybody know David? I tell you, I dated Michelangelo too. Yeah. I'd get around. Throughout. Well, let me tell you what, when he was carving the David and he was chiseling, and there was this huge block of granite, and he was chiseling, and all I could see at that time was the torso. He hadn't completed it. And I said, Michelangelo, how did you know David was in that block of granite? How did you know that? And he said, Cecilia. Actually, Cecilia. That's Italian for Cecilia. And he said, David was always in the block of granite. I just chiseled away everything that wasn't David. What are the things that don't serve you? What are the things that you keep doing? Or what are the things that you're not doing that could stretch you and move you to greater areas of your career and of your personal life? I want to tell you about her. And it's not really her. So I don't want you to think I'm showing you her. Are you with me? But she reminds me the way she looks at a former client of mine from about 6, 7, 8 years ago. And she's with one of the really big oil and gas companies. And her boss's boss said to her boss, she's so smart. She's really, really bright. She was about 26 or 27 years old at the time. And they had her over 5 or 6 countries. I mean, what do you do at 26 with a bunch of countries? And she's over all of these countries, and they're so impressed with her acumen and her ability to handle these really giga projects. And it was just absolutely, she's a high potential. They were grooming her for great things ahead. But her boss's boss said to the boss, she leads by intimidation. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So here she was in a very difficult situation. She had one foot over here that said, wow, I really know all the head stuff. I really know how to get things done. I can flip and move a mountain. And over here, the way she was doing it, people didn't want to follow her. And so consequently, she wasn't able to do what she really needed to do in a way that really served her team and her company. So she called me because she knew that I work with senior level executives. And actually, she's the one that changed the course of my coaching. She said, would you work with me? And I know I'm not a senior level person. I said, well, let's talk. So we met, we chatted, and after we had talked for about an hour or so, I asked her, I said, so if we work together, what would you like to happen at the end of our program together? She's 26. She's got that scrubbed, beautiful, where their skin just elucidates the room. And she's got this blonde hair. She looks like she's 12. She's leading people that are 50 and older. And so the shoulders go back and she does this again. She said, what I would like when we're done working together is executive elegance. And I went, oh my God, I want that too. I don't even know what it is, but it sounds great. Executive elegance, executive presence. We can't get to executive elegance or executive presence without a very, very high EQ. You know people who walk in a room and they don't even have to open their mouth, do they? And you feel that executive elegance. You do, don't you? If you want, or maybe you already have, or you need to hone it, or you need to enhance it, these are the things that we want to do for us to become all whom we were given life to be. We are emerging. We are always becoming. If we are developing ourselves, growing ourselves, guess what? We are becoming more and more of who we are. Anybody ever seen an acorn? I'm the only one. Did you know that within every acorn there is an oak tree? Did you know that? Nobody knew that. I'm glad I came. In every acorn there is an oak tree, but not every acorn will produce an oak tree. It's going to depend on the choices you make. And are you making choices towards something or away from something? So what gets in our way of who we are, or becoming rather who we are, in order to get what it is that we say that we want? And emotional intelligence is at the core of that. And what we know is that when we do not work through things, when we give up too easily, when I call it global whining. Oh, I'm never going to do that. Oh my God. It just goes all over the place. When are we going to pull that in and turn that in? Anybody know Rumpelstiltskin? Dated him. He turned straw into gold. Did you know it? So what is it that is really wearing on you, and how are you going to turn it into gold? I want to tell you about my friend Suzanne. That's not Suzanne. But she had red hair. And I met Suzanne when I was 26. I did not have blonde hair, but I did have squeaky clean skin. And one night I was lamenting. I was hurling myself on myself. Well, selves, maybe I had several at the time. Hurling myself onto walls. It was the gnashing of teeth. It was just, I was just beside myself. And so when I was doing that, I would kind of hide from people because I didn't want them to see me gnashing my teeth. I really wasn't sure what that means, but it felt like I may have been doing it. Okay? And Suzanne happened to come over, and we were talking, and I was really having a tough time because I was trying to sublimate my emotions. And this is what she said, and I have never forgotten it, and it changed my life forever. What she said was this: Until you can sit with your own emotions, you will never be able to be there for another person. And when somebody starts having emotions, you will try to make them laugh. You will distract them. You will tell them it will be okay. You will tell them all kinds of things so that you take them up into their head out of their emotions. When you take somebody out of their emotions, you take them out of a healing process. That is a very critical process. And when we learn this, I think you're going to love this. I believe it stops the aging process. Okay? Because when we do not appropriately give our emotions a place to be expressed, we sublimate them, then we begin to carry them. And this is what they say if you've ever said to somebody, can't date you, can't marry you, too much baggage. What you're really saying is you haven't processed what it is that you have encountered and carried. And so consequently, you cannot be present because you've got this backpack the size of Wyoming on your back. And I have my own stuff and I'm going to pass on you. Anybody ever had that experience? Good. I see a couple of nods here. So that's what I said when she told me. What? I got to do what? I got to feel these? I got to feel the feelings? When you can feel your feelings as a leader, it doesn't mean that you are going to jump in with that person, but it means that you are going to be able to be empathetic. You are going to be able to be compassionate. You're not going to try and set them down. Trying to set them down. I'm not sure on that. I'll come back to that one. Have you ever had your child come home and tell you what a horrible day they had at school and that their friends made fun of them and that they were not allowed to go to a particular meeting? And instead you tell them, well, you shouldn't have done that. You should have done this and you should have done that. That's head stuff. Instead of saying, that must have been really hard. That must have been really, really difficult. This is where we begin to listen. When people say that they don't feel being heard, it's not that you have to get in the throes of it, but that you need to learn how to manage it so that they can have a safe space. I know in the oil and gas industry, I used to go out to refineries. Yeah, I didn't have anything to do that week. And they always made me wear these hard hats. You can't look cute in a hard hat. You just can't. And not only that, but then they'd make me watch a video so I would be safe. I would be safe. So I'm watching a video. I got this ugly hat on. And then they make me put booties on my shoes. And they were really cute shoes. I like my shoes. But you know what they never said? We want them to be safe emotionally. You as a leader, are people safe with you? Can they confide in you? This is what makes a great leader and has high EQ. To be able to really connect with somebody on a very deep level. To really hear somebody. How many times have you had a situation when you said, oh my gosh, she heard me? Anybody had that? They heard me. How many people have you heard? So this is what we do. We take all our emotions because work said don't be bringing them to work. But now they realize that if they don't let you bring your emotions to work, you know what has happened? Your innovation has been cut off. Your creativity has been cut off. Your intuition has been impacted. The way that you communicate, all of those things have been cut off because emotions are what drive us. That's what moves us. Emotion, energy, motion, that's what moves us. And they're supposed to move through us. They're not supposed to get stuck. But what we do is we take and we put them in a trunk, and then we sit on that trunk. Emotions are alive. They are real. And you're sitting there doing this the whole time, trying to keep them down, right? And now you don't have any energy to show up for who you are. You don't have any energy to do what you need to do because you're so busy sublimating. And that is going to impact your alignment. Anybody ever seen a Rubik's Cube? Good. Okay. Have you ever gotten one straight? They're tricky, aren't they? And it's like life. Those Rubik's Cubes, we are about aligning ourselves. Aligning ourselves. When we align ourselves, I can be there for you. Severa? Gosh, I'm good. Okay. So when you are aligned, now you can flow. Everybody had a garden hose that got kinked, and then the water doesn't flow. We want to be aligned. Head, heart, hara, and heels, and hands. So let me explain that. I made it up. Okay, I call it the 5 H's. One time it was the 3 H's, and it's expanded. Head. If I connect with you, head, I am coming here. I am talking at you. I'm giving you facts. I'm throwing things at you. I am not present other than I'm talking at you. That ends up being an Enron. That ends up being a situation where people really don't want to have any in-depth conversations. The next is the heart. So the head and the heart connected is a heart-centered leader. But if you just have the heart, what do we call that? A bleeding heart. You know, you're just all over the place as much. That's what scares companies, that we're just going to go into this bleeding heart. But if you connect the head and the heart, you get the heart-centered leader. If you connect the hara, H-A-R-A, which is a martial arts term for your power center. So guess what we're here for? Empowering women. This is your power center. So what does that mean? When in martial arts and they are aligned, you can come at me here, you can't knock me over. You can come at me from there, you cannot knock me over. You can come at me from over there, you cannot knock me unless I'm wearing these boots. These are very high heels, okay? That you can knock me over. But otherwise, you cannot knock me over. I am aligned. And when I am aligned, my heels, not DSW, my heels are grounded into the ground. So now I can show up fully as who I am. I can be present. I can be there for you. And then my hands are to help you, and my hands are about action and about getting things done. So alignment is critical because you cannot have authenticity, which is a really big word now, being authentic. If you don't know yourself, if you're not developing yourself, if you're not aligned or becoming aligned, you cannot be in your authenticity. It has to become a praxis. I did not make that word up. That word means to embody the practice. So when you look at what it is and where you need to develop yourself and you choose something to work on, it then becomes embodied in your bones. When I was growing up, I went to an all-girl parochial school, St. Bernard Academy for Girls. And so we were learning to cuss. I was 15, okay? And so I came home from school, and my mother said something, and I said, damn. And my mother turned around on her heels, looked at me, didn't say a word. And then she said, my, what a limited vocabulary you have. I was stunned. But you know what she did for me that day? I went into praxis. I went and got me a vocabulary book and I began to build my vocabulary. She told me I had to use a word 27 times before it was mine. So I would go to school every day. My first word was ludicrous. That's ludicrous. That is the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard. And I would go and I would say it until my friends were ready to run me out of town. But when the SAT test came up, they said, oh, thank goodness for you. We would have flunked vocabulary. You want to embody these things that are going to really help you develop your emotional intelligence. So let's talk about one of the things that most of us have the most issue with, and that's confidence. I want you to think of things that you could be doing that will help you build your confidence. And what does that mean? It means doing what you don't want to do. It means raising your hand and asking a question. It means speaking up in a meeting. It means doing what you don't want to do. And guess what? Sometimes it's not going to work well. But let me tell you this, we are hardwired for struggle. This is how we develop and this is how we grow. We must do the thing we think we cannot do. This is Eleanor Roosevelt, and gosh knows she knew. And set yourself up the rituals. What is it that you want to change? Make sure you tuck it into something that you do already. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to build a praxis around this. So if when you're brushing your teeth, maybe what you could be doing is your exercise here. Can you do that? I mean, it does not have to be huge. And if you do that every day, you're going to have some amazing thighs. This is critical. The two most powerful words in the English language are I am. I am. They create things. Whenever we say I am strong. Can you feel the energy? But when you put I am with words that don't serve you, you find your energy drops. Have you ever watched a child's face that said, I'm stupid? That is heartbreaking. And yet some of the stories we tell ourselves, I am never going to get that. I am never going to get promoted. I am never going to be seen. That I am is just absolutely pulling your energy. And when you go to sleep at night, first of all, that is the most powerful place that we ever go every day of our lives. Because whatever we take into that sleep state is going to imprint all night long. So if you go in and you say, I am worried, I am never going to get that, I am not going to be promoted. When you do that I am, that's what's going to imprint every night. And it's going to make your story more embedded. And then remember, what you focus on is going to expand. And you're going to get more of what you don't already want. But if you go into the sleep state and say, I am seen, I am powerful, I am strong, I am a person that always gets back up again, I am somebody that can move mountains, that is what is going to be imprinting all night long. And that's when you wake up in the morning and you feel totally different and the alignment begins to come together and you begin to feel more. But let me tell you what's important. You got to know what your face is saying. I have done so much speaking, and I will see somebody's face. And this one woman, I said to her, I said, your face, you look angry. Yeah, that's what my boss says to me every day. You think she'd want to change that? If you were her boss, would you want to walk in every day and see her face? This is a great way to develop, another great way to develop your emotional intelligence. Start paying attention. Sometimes when I'm sitting on the couch, I'm going, oh my God, my face feels really ugly right now. And I will get up and go look in the mirror, and it would scare little children. You got to know what your face is doing. You got to really up that self-awareness. And then you've got to walk in your own shoes. What this means, don't be comparing yourself to anybody else. And I know that's easier said than done, but nobody has what you have. Nobody has all of the makings that make your recipe totally different from anybody else. And when you can begin to get that, and you can walk in your own shoes without wanting to walk in somebody else's, you will again begin to feel the shift in the alignment to who is coming forth. And be present. I'm going to go back to Suzanne for a minute. Learn to be present for your emotions. When you can do this, then you can be present for somebody else, and you can help them manage their emotions. So really what companies are saying now, yes, bring your emotions to work, but let's manage them. Well, you can do that. And you can go in and find those places, but at least be aware of what it is that's going on and what you're feeling. You need to listen to what the story you're telling yourself. Be silent. Be present. But of all of those things, the most important thing for you to say is, what is the story I'm telling myself? Is it true? And if it is, then if now's appropriate, I can have my emotion. If not, then I will be having those when I, put it on my book, on my calendar. That's not always easy to do. But there's also these wonderful inventions called restroom stalls. Great place. Yes. In fact, I think they were built. So it's all about your inner gold. And so the truth is that the moments that are the most difficult, the moments where you are struggling the most, the moments where we are just propelled by our emotions and we want to hurl ourselves onto walls, we feel like we're in a rut, we don't think our life is going to change, that's the gold. That's the gold. I tell you what, if you will write down, where have I not grown up? That will tell you more than any other question in my estimation. Let me tell you what, and if you don't know where you have not grown up, ask your spouse. Or ask a family member. They will be glad to tell you. We have abdicated our power in so many different ways. One of the ways women tend to abdicate their power is in finances. That's one of the places we have not grown up. Men, where they haven't grown up, is usually they think you're their mother and they're still leaving their clothes all over the floor. That's where they have not grown up. And there are many more which we don't have time to go into. But think about, where have I not grown up? And then decide, what are you going to do to turn that into a praxis and grow? And what we know about gold and getting into that awakening piece is that we tend to take our gold as women and project it onto other people. And why do we do that? Because we're not strong enough yet to carry our own gold. How does that look? I had a friend that said, oh, my husband, I'm going to have to ask him to help me go buy a car. I'm like, he couldn't negotiate his way out of a paper sack. You, on the other hand, could negotiate with Khrushchev. You are amazing, but she couldn't own her gold. Where are you not owning your gold? Where is it that you are allowing other people to carry your gold? And when you get strong enough, then you can go back to them and you could say, could I please have my gold back? And then you can carry your own gold. But these are the things, it's hard work. But the point is you have to ask yourself, do you have the strength to dig your gold out? No struggle, no gold. No struggle, no gold. How do you think people get to the Olympics? Do you think those ice skaters ever fell? They fell. They didn't fell once. Fell once. Sister Amora would not like that structure of the English word. So I'm going to tell you one more thing that I made up. Shua. I love that. Isn't that great? Shua. So what does Shua mean? What does Shua what does it mean? What does it mean? I'm going to go with that. Shua. See me, hear me, understand me, acknowledge me, and appreciate me. When you're on a team and you've got a team member that you want to knock them into next year, anybody ever had that? Yeah. What I want you to think about is they want to be seen. Something is happening that they are not either being seen, heard, understood, acknowledged, or appreciated. Ever seen a kid on a diving board who's jumping up and down and jumping up and down? See me, mama, see me, mama, see me, mama. And you're thinking, if that lady doesn't look at that kid in a minute. And then finally, mama looks up and the kid goes, I've been seen. When we are doing things that don't serve us, it's one of those 5 things, and sometimes all of them. And your team members, that's also for you. Are you seeing yourself? Are you listening to yourself? Do you understand yourself? Are you acknowledging yourself? Are you appreciating yourself? I have my clients write thank yous to themselves. Anybody in here ever done that? You just got 100,000 points. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Acknowledge yourself. Look at yourself, because until you do this, you will not have the emotional intelligence to do it for another person. In South Africa, there's a tribe called the Bushmen. And in our world, in the Western world, we say to people, hello, how are you? Hi, what's up? Those don't really come across as really profound, right? But in the bush, when one of the bushmen is coming out from the bush and they see another person, they say, I see you. And what does that mean? It means you exist. It means you're present. It means I'm present for you. It means I see you as a person. I see you. I'm really clear. I see you. God bless you. I see you is considered more powerful than the 3 words, I love you. Because when I say I see you, I bring you into existence. Has anyone ever had a situation where you walked into a room, someone you knew looked at you and turned their back? Nothing feels more awful. Because what did they say? You don't exist. In fact, I said to a friend of mine the other day, he's Jewish. I said, and it's like the Jews. They say, you're dead to me. He said, yeah. He said, did we start that? I went, yeah. You don't exist. You're dead to me. You don't matter. You have no calling on me. Nothing. You don't matter is what we say. But when we can say, I see you. I've just told you, you matter. You exist. You're important. I see you. And do you know what the other person says to them? I am here. I am here. I am here for you. I am here to support you. I'm here to be here for you. What you need, I will help you with. That is what I do. I am here. This is profound. This, to me, is at the core of emotional intelligence. That we see each other on a very deep level. And that doesn't mean that we have to, let me reframe that. That means that what we have an opportunity to do is to see each other in a way where we can work as a team, where we can move mountains together because we all see each other. We all matter to each other. We all exist. And in this comes compassion. In this comes empathy. You cannot have compassion nor empathy without alignment, without authenticity, and without seeing each other. It is critical to being a human being. It is that important. I dated Woody Allen. This is one of the most profound quotes, in my estimation, when he said, I was thrown out of college for cheating on metaphysics exam. I looked into the soul of the boy sitting next to me. That's what happens when we are seen. That's what happens when we see other people. This is the essence of emotional intelligence. This does not have to be difficult, but the word is so big and it has so many letters in it. EMOTIONALIN. I mean, it's too much. Let's just bring it in. Let's just bring it in and say that its essence, its core is I see you and you matter. And I want to be there for you, and you exist. And how can we do this together? And how can I help you grow? And how can I help you really embrace your power? How can I empower you? How can you empower me? How can we do this all together? How can we all see each other? This is what it is. And if you will do some of the things that I was talking about, just choose one. I said at the beginning, just choose one. What is the one thing that if you did it every day for 40 days, it would increase your emotional intelligence? What would that one thing be? What would that one thing be? I see you. 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 I see you, and 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 I see you and you sitting over there in the dark. I can still see you. I see you. Thank you for coming to see me.